All right, here we go. We have got some new floodlights to put up on the corners of this new porch that we built. So we bought a brand called SANSI, Sansi, maybe is how you pronounce it. So we're going to put them up here and over here. We already have our wire running down, but every floodlight that you buy is going to be a little different. So this one, it's pretty much a flush mount. You don't have any room in here to really hide wires or store wires. So when we put this up and it sits flush against here, I've got to stuff these wires and these wires up in here, and that hole is not going to be big enough. So I'm going to drill another hole right beside that one towards the back, just to give us room to push our wires up in. So let's go right beside this hole. And I've got the wood to go through. Be careful not to get your wire fucked up in there either. Which I did, see? Fucked my wires up in there, which is fine because I got a bunch of wire. I just pulled some out of there. So for now, I'll stuff these up in there a little bit more. Just trying to make some room up here. So now that I've made some room, also my wires got tucked back up in here. So hopefully I can grab them and pull them down back through my hole. If not, I may be cooked. Might need a pair of needle nose pliers, but I know I've got enough wire up there. When I pulled it down, I had plenty of wire. So I'm going to grab some pliers, pull them down, and give us access to our wires again. All right, so now let's try to get this shit out of here. I done fucked up a little bit. Or maybe a lot of bit. shit. All right, we'll come back when I get that damn wire out of there. Okay, so what I did when I drilled this hole, of course, I hit the wires, which is fine. I've got the switch turned off so they're not hot. They're not live. And I left myself plenty of room in here to pull these wires down some. So I just grabbed a pair of needle nose pliers and snuck up here. Took me a few minutes, but I pulled them out. So now we're going to strip all this down and get to the good wire to use. Got me some wire strippers. Let's get this outer shell off here. Let's see here. Go ahead and cut that off. What you got to be careful of when you're stripping this outer, I guess this is insulation. On this outer insulation, you don't want to cut into the wires that are underneath it, because then they'll touch and you'll have issues. So I'm going to cut down that way. So don't cut too deep. Once you have that outer layer done, go ahead and strip whatever wires you have left to strip. That black one went ahead and came off. That's my black wire there, which is going to be the hot wire. I'll try to cut some of this extra off. That should give us enough to hook up the other wires that are on this floodlight. Then we're going to push these back up into that hole that we made. So in this particular package, it's an outdoor floodlight, so they give you a gasket. So we're going to go ahead and take our floodlight here and put these wires through this little felt gasket, rubber gasket, whatever it is. So it'll go on like that. There's a little hole in the middle. That's for the screw that secures this to this. So that'll stay that way. They also give you, in this particular floodlight, they give you the little plastic wire connectors. So we're going to utilize those. We have 3 wires, so we have 3 connectors. And usually when you do this kind of install, you'll actually have a metal box up here that will screw in recessed underneath this ceiling. And it's going to have a threaded piece in the middle that you'll use to secure this to. I didn't do that in this case. I wasn't sure which lights I was going to use. Bye, Tiggy. Have a good day. So I wasn't sure what lights I was going to use. So all I did up under here is I've got a 2x6 piece of wood. So I'm going to use a construction screw, a wood screw, to screw up through here. And it's going to secure into that wood and be super tight, super strong, last forever. So on and so forth. So next step is let's connect these wires. And it's easy. You'll go black to black, white to white, copper to copper, just like this. We just stick them in there and screw them down. Like that. Go with the second one. Go with the third. If you get all three of those on, it should hold itself up. This thing isn't too heavy. So let it hold itself up like that. I am going to use some electrical tape on these just because these are going up in the ceiling, and I want to make sure that if I ever pull this down again, hopefully I can just pull those wires back down and they don't come loose. So I'm going to wrap them really good with electrical tape to help hold those connections on there. And this is difficult because I'm having to reach over to get to this. I should put a ladder right here and I could reach it a lot easier. And actually that's what I'm fixing to do. I'm gonna get another ladder and make this easier for myself. Alrighty, now this is gonna be a little easier for me. Get up here. You also should wrap with electrical tape if any of your wire is actually showing, which I do have this black wire that's not within that wire connector, and it doesn't have the insulation on it. You just don't want your wires touching together. That could cause it to short out, trip breakers, and possibly start a fire. So it's a good idea to go ahead and put this shit on here. Try to get it nice and tight. Just like that. There's one. Let's go with this neutral now. This white neutral wire. Just start wrapping it around the wires. Also wrap it around the plastic wire connector. That should be good. And then we'll go ahead and do the ground, which is the green wire and the copper. Green and the copper go together. I'm going to wrap them two to keep them together. Now we're going to try to push these back up into this hole. Hopefully they go up there. And you just want to make sure that you turn this sensor. This is the motion sensor. Turn it towards whichever way you want the motion to be detected. If you want the motion to be detected over here on the porch and the lights to come on, do it that way. Most people will face it out towards the house or towards the yard, excuse me. So it will come on when someone walks up, or if the kids are outside playing, it'll come on, things like that. We may have to push these wires up kind of individually. So let's see if I can do that. Go ahead and get that one up in there. I don't know if we made our hole big enough. I may need to do a little more to that. It's going to be a little tricky, but we're going to try it. I need some more room. Now this time I don't need to hit them damn wires. But now that I have this ladder on this side, I'm hoping I can reach this a little bit better and see what I'm doing. So let's see if I can do it. Nope. I done hit my damn wires again. Son of a fucking bitch. Son of a bitch. This is going to turn into a goddamn catastrophe. I don't know if I've got more slack up there or not. Can't tell if I actually tore through my wire or just that outer part of insulation. Let's see. Okay, it didn't tear through my wire. So we're still good there. Push that back up through there. Let's keep pushing. Okay. And there is a little bitty hole on this light that you can put a wire or two. I don't know if it's going to be enough though. I don't think it's going to be deep enough for these. So these things really need to go up in there if I can. Let's try it like this. Come here, you bitch. That time it worked out okay. We didn't touch our wire. And that might give us enough room there. Yeah, I feel pretty good with that, I think. Them things should go up in there now. Some shit in my eye. Come on. Get up in there. All right, you little bastard. Let's do a little mow on him. Just trying to go nice and slow now. See what I can do. Oh, I touched my wire again that time. Didn't do any damage. Ah. I think I just got that outer piece again. Yeah, just the little outer sleeve. We don't care about that. All right, let's try this shit again. I need some more tape on that bitch right there. It done came off. I still like doing this shit though, because I learn every time I do some shit like this, I learn a little bit. Because I make some mistakes here and there, of course. And when I make a mistake, I try not to make the same fuck ass mistake. Damn. What the fuck? Okay. So this thing has then come off from all this shit I've been doing. It just came out from there. So let's redo this thing right here again. We're not going to give up though. We're going to knock it the fuck out. I hope. Shit. So let's pull this thing right here off. Let's try this again. Okay, now we'll tape him up again. All right, shit. Okay. See if we can't get maybe two to go in one side and one to go on this other little side of this hole that I got. Mm. That might be it right there. Because you want this thing to sit flush, of course. We're really close. But I still want it to go in there some more. I want it to go all up in that shit. All right, so I'm going to keep working on drilling a little hole up there to get this shit to fit in. And then I'll show you how we're going to screw this to the ceiling and attach it. Okay, so I wallowed the hole out a little bit more. My dumb ass should have cut a bigger hole to begin with, but I wasn't thinking. Anyway, so I wallowed the hole out a little bit more. I've got a pretty good amount of room to push all these wires up in here. So I'm going to push them up, and I'm going to try to screw this thing to this wood that I've got under here. Let's see if I can get them all to go in. Make sure we turn this around this way. Get up there where we can see. Yeah. So I'm just going to be using one of these long ass construction screws. I think. I don't know if it'll go through here though. Let's see. We'll make that work. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this up through here a little bit. And put it through the hole in the gasket. Which I'm also going to silicone around this, or caulk, silicone, something, to make sure that it's weather tight. Make sure all those are up in there. I think I want it about right there. So I'm going to start screwing this thing up a little bit. Maybe. Well, I think I want it right there. I think my little extension here is getting in my damn way. So let me try to find a smaller extension end. See what I can do. I'm not sure if this little extension is going to be small enough to go in this hole because I'm bottoming out. Yep, that works. Okay. So let's get back up here. Let's push some wires back up. Get these things out of the damn way. All right, so once we start hitting into some wood, let's back it up just a hair. Come here. I want to make sure that all this shit gets pushed up in here. It doesn't interfere with our shit. Damn. All right, hold him in place. What the fuck is happening now? It's somewhat in there, but it's not tight. I don't know if this thing isn't going in enough. Yeah, this damn thing here isn't going in enough either. It's stopping. I don't want to strip out my screw, which I don't think I have yet. Let me try. Yeah, that's not even going to reach it. I need something smaller than that one. I don't know if I've got one smaller than that one. Maybe at this point I could use a screwdriver. I'm going to try to grab a screwdriver and see if I have like a super long Phillips head bit that's longer than that one. But we got it started. Now we just need to get it finished and get it tied up in there. All right, so I found this guy right here. But it won't work with my little, I don't know what that thing's called. Impact driver or whatever the hell it is. So I'm going to grab my drill, that way I can connect to this. So now with this drill, I can come out and grip it. Let's see here. So now I've got it. This thing should fit in there. Yeah, there we go. And I can let it go. There we go. Let's set this thing properly. That's tight. That's in there. Okay. God damn. A damn a floodlight, man. What the hell? Yeah, some bitch is tight. Now, I've already turned it on before I put it on the ceiling like that, before I screwed it up to make sure it was going to work. I always do that before you finish all your other steps because you hate to put everything on and then it doesn't work. We're going to go ahead and check it one more time here. Make sure it works. All right. And it's working. Now we can just set it to whatever setting you want. I believe this particular one has 4 settings, From Dusk Till Dawn, which is a great movie. This is on test right now. Stinking bitch. We'll just do auto, I guess. Dusk Till Dawn. On time. Auto. Yeah. Let's get that little ball piece back in. Yeah, shit. Let's go back over here. If you need to adjust this, which I do, it was upside down. You can unscrew it. If you can find a goddamn screw, you can unscrew it. Right there. It should allow you to push this back in. Yeah. Like that. That's your motion detector deal. So have that angled wherever you're going to have motion or where you want it to detect motion. And then screw that back down. That'll lock that back in place. So that way if somebody walks up to the gate, it should come on. You got all these different settings up here. So play with the settings. See where you want them. And you can also adjust these where you want them to shine. Of course, we can't see much now. When it gets dark, we'll come out and make sure this is all where we want it. But I'll put it in auto mode. And we'll test it out when it gets nighttime. But it does work. It powers on. So even though we caught hell getting it up there, it's up there, it's tight. The hole that we made is covered. And that's one more project down. Here's the other one I did. I made this a little bit easier than the first one because I went ahead and wallowed out this hole up here. Let's see if I can. So I wallowed the hole out up in there with that wood and stuff to give myself enough room. So that way I can just tuck those in there and then I'll be able to screw this up here to where it'll get this area out here. So yeah, would I do it a little differently? Yeah, I'd probably cut it out big, put one of those, you know, boxes in there like you're supposed to do, like I did with the fan, and do it that way. But I wasn't thinking, I wasn't sure which which type I was going to use. Originally I was going to just use a regular cheap ass floodlight that just bolts here, doesn't have the motion sensor and all that stuff on it, but I decided to go this route, which these are a lot nicer than the little metal $8 ones that you can buy that you had the replaceable bulbs that you use. So but yeah, I would do it differently, but that's part of what we do here, is we do things and then we learn from them. So I'll know when I start working down that side of the house that I'm going to do it differently. But again, we just adapt and overcome. This is going to work. That one over there works, and this one's going to work as well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the power, make sure these lights come on. If they do, I'll do the same thing I did over there. I'll take a screw and screw up into this Hardy and into that 2x6 that I have up underneath the Hardy right there.